This is your first time joining us. So glad you're here. I don't know what movies are kind of like the milestone movies for you guys, but for me, one of the greatest movies and films of all time, without fail, is this film called Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Yes. It is one of the best movies ever made. I highly recommend it. But the movie, even for those who haven't seen the film, they kind of know it by this one special line. And the line is that my mom once told me that life was like a box of chocolates. Because you never know what you're gonna get. Which I always thought it was kind of odd, because every time I've opened up a box of chocolate, I do know what I'm gonna get. It's gonna be nasty, it's gonna be crappy, it's gonna be, right? Just like, am I allowed to say that? Right? I mean, has any chocolate tasted good? No. And so this is kind of, it's a metaphor. It's an illustration of life. And I think there's some truth to it, but I personally have another metaphor or illustration for life as well. I actually don't know if life is so much like a box of chocolate as it actually is like this. You're like, what is that? Is that like, oh my gosh, is that a gigantic marshmallow that's blown up in 3 parts? No, it's actually a cake. I actually think life is like a cake. This is not working at all right now. Work with me, okay? And the reason why is because this 3-tiered cake almost represents various questions that we all ask about life. So for example, on the 1 tier, we have questions like, hey, what am I gonna do today? What am I going to eat today? Hey, we're like, what are you doing this weekend? Hey, how was your Sunday? What did you do this past weekend? Hey, what should we do today? What should I wear today? See, there's so much of our life, it's taken up by routine, just basic lifestyle questions. And so many of us, we understand tier 1 of the cake of life very, very well. Now, there are deeper questions still that we can ask. Not questions just about lifestyle and routine, but questions actually about career and relationship. Questions like, what am I going to do after college? Questions like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? Questions like, who is the one? Questions like, should I just give him a chance? Really? Questions like, do you think she'll even look at me? Or like me? Questions like, will you marry me? And so someone was like, ooh, right? Got really nervous there. And so other life questions are in the sphere of career and relationships, whether it's friendships or dating, engagement, and marriage. And so there's the second almost, it's not deeper, but it surely does feel more weighty. And at the bottom of the cake, this is kind of the foundation of the cake, is not just career and relationships, but purpose and calling. See, these are a totally different set of questions. Questions like, what's my life's purpose? Questions like, why do I exist? Why am I here? Why am I on planet Earth? For what reason? Whoever, if some force created me, or if it was just whatever, why am I on this stinking Earth? What do I exist for? See, this is kind of life. It's all about, there's different tiers of questions that we can ask, and let's be honest, some questions are a little bit more scary than other questions because different tiers, they have different costs and different benefits. And life is scary. And here's the reality is that everyone in the world pretty much can be grouped according to life is like a box of cakes. Everyone in the world can be grouped almost in 4 little groups. Group 1, some people actually live just only doing the first tier. They only do routine life questions, right? They just wake up, they go to sleep. They wake up, they go to sleep. They wake up, they sleep. They use the bathroom and they go to sleep. Right? It's just that's it. The only things that some people really live are just surface level, routine, basic lifestyle. They live and then they die. There are people like that in the world. Now, a second category of people are those who say, yeah, I'm into the whole everyday stuff and those things matter too, but they also say, well, what do I really want to do with my life? Now, I want to do something. I want to be productive. I want to make a difference, right? Or I want to build a family. I want to tie roots to the city and build a family and have 45 kids and maybe one day we could run the city. Okay, sorry, that's my dream, not your dream. Did I get too personal there? And so, right, so some people, they actually crack down into the second tier where they go, this is what I want. And so they actually have a meaningful career. They even have meaningful relationships, but that's it, they die. Now, there's a third group of people, they actually make it to the foundational questions of life. When they ask questions like, why am I here? Why do I exist? They actually search for that answer and they try to live it out. But here's the problem. The problem is that even the very purpose that they define is incorrect. It was not the right, true purpose for why humans exist on this earth. For why you and I were given a measly, 80 years at best, right? And the scary thing is some people actually find the right answer, but by then they go, oh my gosh, I wasted my entire life. Gone. I wish I could have a do-over. Now, there's a rare fourth group of people. They actually do find the right purpose for why they exist on this stinking earth. And not only do they know the right answer, they actually start living life backwards. Meaning based off of the foundation tier of their true purpose on the earth. They let that inform their relationships and their careers. And they allow that to inform then their routine and lifestyle. And some people, they actually get it and they live it. And they live a life where they can really say, I had my cake and eat it too. Whether you're joining us for the first time or not, I know we've kind of launched back in. Really do want to welcome you to our college group here on a Friday night. Tonight, we're going through something called Collegian Vision Night. And Collegian Vision Night, it's just one night where we can just dedicate some time to really think through what our lives, yours and mine, could be, and not only could be, but should be. Where the questions that we're asking, it's not primarily, what do I want to do with my life? But the question is, what is my life? What does it exist for truly? And how do I start kind of bleeding that into every other sphere of my life? Where, if we're honest, it's not just we're living the routine every day, and then we're thinking about our career and relationships, and then once in a while we're like, it'd be nice to, live for the right purpose. But instead, what if we reverse the order and let the foundation question of our lives, the base question, be, what do I exist for? And allow that to start reshaping everything else in our lives. See, I'm concerned. See, we're not even 2 weeks into the new year. You know that? We're not even 2 stinking weeks. Did I say 2 years into the new year? We're not even 2 stinking weeks into the new year. And here's what's crazy is that some of us, when 2017 ended, you were disappointed. Right? You're like, boo. Like, 2017 was, not that you ever make that noise, only I did, right? Boo. Right? Like, what was that? I didn't get to achieve any of my goals. I wanted X, Y, and Z, and none of that came to fruition. And here you are 2 weeks later into the new year, and you're living the exact same way, right? And so you've heard that quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And so, look, if we're going to be honest, if you and I are going to be human beings, made in the image of God, who are really trying to live all that God desires and intends for you, I want you, that is not going to happen by accident. That is not going to happen with us just doing the routine and lifestyle every day, and then eventually finding a career and relationships, and then we get a sticker called, this is the purpose that God has for me, and then stick it on at the end. That's not how it works. It's got to be worked the exact opposite. Where we actually discover what exactly is God's calling and purpose in my life. And we allow that to start driving everything else in our lives. And so my heartbeat tonight is not that I'm not going to blow you away with something new. I met some new visitors earlier, and I was like, oh crap, I wish you didn't come today. I'm not going to say anything new or impressive. I'm just going to say everything you've already heard 1,000 times. But this is my prayer today, that we would actually reflect on whether it's true in our lives. On whether it's actually a reality or not. And allow God to speak into that space. So, let's start with the bottom tier. What is purpose? What is our calling? Well, to answer this question, we're going to get some help. There's this kind of old document. This was written in the 17th century. Not that anyone cares right now. By English and Scottish theologians. They put this together with the hopes of teaching like God's people the truths of God. Okay? And so this document, they formed it and it was like massive, and so they kind of shrunk it down. And this document is called Westminster Shorter Catechism. Okay? So if any of you grew up in Reformed or Presbyterian churches, you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're doing that again. No, we're not going to do all of it, okay? But all truth is God's truth, and this is an incredibly helpful little document. And so catechism is just a big word for teaching. And so they wanted to systematically teach people the truths of God, that which is true. Well, this document is really interesting because it goes in Q&A form. So they invented Facebook Live before Facebook Live, right? And so they have a question and they have an answer. Do you know what the first question is? The first question is, what is the chief and highest end of man? Meaning, what's man's purpose? What's man's greatest calling? And here's the answer that they wrote. This was in the 17th century. Bless you. Bless you again. I shouldn't say that. I should just teach. I should just catechize. Okay. The answer that they wrote is that man's chief and highest end or purpose or calling is to glorify God and fully to enjoy Him forever. Okay, so this is hundreds of years ago. They said, you know what we all exist for? And this is what they taught and propagated and told their little kids. They said, you exist to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. So it's both, right? There's an action, but it's also a relationship. It's two. This is what they said. Now, what's amazing is, hundreds of years later, okay, I exaggerated that. I'm an exaggerator. I exaggerate everything. A little bit later, they actually added Bible references. Here's the Bible references that these theologians added to this definition. First, Romans 11:36. For from God and through God and to God are all things. To Him be glory forever. Amen. So what Paul here, the writer, is saying is, like everything that's ever been made, the origin, it's found in God. The source through which it came to be in existence was God, but the end goal, the aim of everything is also God. Now, remember, Romans 11, he's unpacked salvation. So he's saying, like, you're a sinner, but you need Jesus, and now you've been saved. Yeah, you've been adopted, and you have the Holy Spirit. And after all these things, then he says, by the way, you exist for God's glory. The second passage that they refer to was 1 Corinthians 10:31. So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do all to the glory of God. So eating and drinking, that's not very intense, right? It's everyday routine stuff. And yet even that, Paul said, you should do it to the glory of God. Do it in a way that makes God look fantastic. In context, in 1 Corinthians 10, they're talking about meat. Meat sacrificed to other gods. Can we eat that or not? And some people are like, oh, I have my freedom. I'm going to exercise my freedom. Right? And other people were like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And he was like, it's not about your freedom. It's not about anything. It's about God's glory. So in any circumstance, whether it's an issue of eating, whether it's an issue of drinking, it doesn't matter. It's about God's glory. That's what directs everything. Final passage. Psalm 73, the shortest one. The psalmist, right? He's lamenting because he's like, all the wicked people are prospering. What about the godly people? And then afterwards he says, you will guide me with your counsel. And afterwards you will receive me to glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? There is nothing on earth that I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. For behold, those who are far from you shall perish. You put an end to everyone who is unfaithful to you. But for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the Lord God my refuge, that I may tell of all your works. Who do I have in heaven but I'm just going to enjoy you fully forever. So, historically, Christian thinkers have said, our purpose and aim on the earth is to glorify God and to fully enjoy Him forever. Now, if we fast forward it to contemporary times today, and we ask pastors and scholars, like, hey, you know this whole thing right here? How would you how do you make this practical? Like, how do we live this out? Like, give us some terminology. Here's what I'm convinced would be unanimous agreement. All right, here we go. Here's what I think some people would say. They would say, okay, here's how you glorify God and enjoy Him forever. First, you got to love God with everything. With your mind, your strength, your soul, everything. Yeah, this requires some time, but it also requires not just feelings, but even your obedience. Because those who love me obey my commandments. That's what Jesus said. So you got to love God with everything. The second thing I think people would include today is to love God's people through investment. The local church. To invest in people. Not just to attend and be like, we'll just do the service. No. Like, that's not enough. Right? It's not even not attend, here's my $10 bill, right, that my mom gave to me, even though I'm still a second-year college student, okay, got too real. And don't even lie, it's a $5 bill, you liars, right? And so some people are getting really uncomfortable, so I'm just going to keep going, sermon not going very well, right? And so it's not just you sucking something out of a church. But it's like, I'm going to invest in people. I can't invest in everybody, but I can get to know somebody. And I can encourage and love somebody. I can serve someone. And I think the third thing that people would say is labor in God's mission. Meaning there's people who don't know Jesus. There are issues of compassion around the world. This is why, have you noticed, every church is the same. Some of you freshmen, I know you guys have been checking out churches, right? You guys are the ones who are like, oh, I'm just going to stick around here. I'm just exhausted. I'm just done, right? Okay, every church that you go to, if you go to their website, it's the exact same thing. It's these three things, right? We love Jesus. We want to be a church. We're going to go love the world. It's the same, right? And they say it's like Christ, community, commission. Right? Right? Him, Jesus, us, them, right? It's just all fancy, different words. It's the same thing, right? Everyone's trying to say, we're just trying to glorify God and enjoy Him fully as a church. This is it. You know this whole thing right here, this whole purpose, and you know what the fancy word is? It's discipleship. That's all it is. It's discipleship. See, you know what a disciple is? Someone who follows Jesus. A disciple is someone who says, however Jesus lived, I too will follow Him in that manner. So, did Jesus love God with everything? Yes. Did Jesus love God's people through investment? Yes. Did Jesus labor in the mission of God? Yes, through His life and death and resurrection. So, did Jesus love God and glorify God and enjoy Him fully forever? Absolutely. So, if you are a Christian, if you call yourself a Christian, you're a disciple, which means you are also on the same path, following Jesus to also love Him, to love the people that He loves, and to also be on the mission that He's on. So, here's what I want you to know. If you're sitting here tonight and you said yes to the gospel, if you've said, yes, I'm a sinner and I need help and I can't save myself and I am doomed, but I believe that Jesus came to the earth, He died on a cross for my sins, and He rose again in victory. If you're like, yes, the gospel is mine, you know what else is yours? Discipleship. Because those who say yes to the gospel, they've also said yes to discipleship. You need to know, this is your purpose on the earth. This is your design. This is why you exist. You exist to be a follower of Jesus who's trying to mimic every little thing, the way that He lives. As we love God, as we try to love the very people that He loves, and as we labor in His mission, we glorify Him and enjoy Him fully forever. That's why you exist. This is your purpose. So if we apply this now to the bottom here, okay, let's just nasty cake. Okay? Let's just glue it on there, okay? I apologize for the graphic, okay? This is why I did not go into design. So here's my question. Does your life, is the foundational question of your life about this life? Meaning at the bottom of your life, the key core driving question, is it how do I be a disciple in whatever capacity? How about does discipleship drive your life? Or are you driving discipleship out of your life? Because you would much rather prefer your routine and career and relationship apart from it. You see, like, I know that this is a really, I haven't even told like a funny story, right? Like, I know I'm just going for it. And I want to set you guys off free for so good. But you know, like, what's amazing, what's scary is that some of us tonight, like right now, like, you feel burdened. Like, oh my gosh, I forgot, like, I'm a disciple, oh crap. Right, some of us, we feel like this, right? Like, oh my gosh, like, I can't even enjoy things anymore, you're right, like, break, I'm a disciple. Oh, my career, like, I'm a disciple. If that's how you feel about discipleship, breaking into your life, you don't understand discipleship. Discipleship is that you get to walk with Jesus. You know, like, you know the gospel? Do you know how powerful and profound it is? You know, my son, he's upstairs right now in my office. He's like rewatching this YouTube video over and over and over. I put it on repeat. You know, just on a human level, the very concept of me trying to fathom, me taking my son, giving away his life for somebody else, it's unfathomable. I would never do that for anyone. I know I always end Friday nights with love y'all, but not that much. You realize that God sent his son to save you. He traded away his son to save you. He traded away his son so that he can have the relationship with you that he and his son had. You know how profoundly amazing that is? So to be a disciple, to say that's my purpose in life, is not, oh crap, oh great. No. It's like you're saying that my career can have meaning. You're saying that like my relationships are more than just me building a pretty little family for myself. You're saying that my everyday routine, it can be more than just, oh, YOLO, you know, it can be more than that. There's more than YOLO and FOMO, Bisholo. Without a doubt. Of course, because you are walking with Jesus. I mean, come on, guys, like I know we're like a week away from retreat, but like, just be honest, like, what is the foundational question in your life? What's driving you? Is your purpose as a disciple? Or do you have that thing reversed where you're just focused on your life and you're trying to squeeze in a little bit of discipleship because you feel guilty? You know, the last three and a half weeks, it's been like the weirdest week for me. So about 3.5 weeks ago, my wife, she at work slipped on the stairs at work on the second step, and she fell down and she rolled down the steps. And we're pregnant, and I got the phone call, and so I rushed over to the ER. And one of the first things that she told me, she was like, I can't live my life. I can't live my life. And so if you see her last Sunday and during prayer, she's just sitting there like, she's not being rebellious. Like, it's like, what is wrong with that woman? She fell on the stairs. And there was a moment when I thought, oh my goodness, like, we're gonna lose this baby. And my wife might be paralyzed. And everything worked out well. But you know when something like that happens? You know how it just has a way of just kind of shaking the cage of your life just enough to make you start wondering about life again? And that event, it kind of launched me on this process where I feel like I'm living tier 1 and 2 really, really well. Like, I got the daily routine, cycle, discipline working. I got that down. I mean, even relation, like, yeah, I think I'm a good dad. Okay, dad. I think I'm a good husband. I think I'm a good employee. But somewhere in the midst of all that, I've just lost my purpose. And there was something about that event that just catalyzed the way that I think to remember why I exist. why she and I exist all over. You know, I feel like this week, I repented more of my sins than I did the last 2 months. When I was working on this sermon, I was just I was crying at times. I know you can imagine Bible, like, I love this laptop, thank you, Route 28, and I'm crying at the same time. And you know what I thought? I thought, I used to be like this more. I used to be like this more. And I realized that underneath my life, I've stopped realizing that I'm a true follower of Jesus because he saved me, because I've said yes to the gospel. I said yes to discipleship. And somewhere along the path, I felt like I could take the gospel without discipleship. And so this week, in some ways, I feel more alert, spiritual, than I have in a while. And maybe it's because I've got the bottom teeth. So where are you as a disciple? Where are you with life? Are you living with all 3 tiers? Or just living in surface? You know, some of us, I know that you're not sure if you're a Christian. You know, I'm really glad you're here. I hope you can come to the retreat. Can I just say this? Like, you don't have to, like, this whole disciple thing, like, I just want you, like, you're following someone. Okay, so you might think, like, oh, these crazy religious people, but you're following somebody. You're mimicking somebody. You're worshiping somebody. Others of us, like, you're well-intentioned. You're a well-intentioned Christian. But to be honest, you're well-intentioned. But you also subtly squeeze out God in certain parts of your life. Others of us, you are such a busybody. You're going around doing all spiritual activities, and you know you're well respected. But I mean, deep down inside, like, you love him. Are you enjoying him? Delighting in him. You know, some of us, like, you're so over, you're like totally ready to graduate college, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to jump to the next stage. I'm going to move on to the next stage. I'm going to move on to the next stage. And in doing so, you've totally neglected people that you can love in your life right now. You're not invested. Check it out, mentally and emotionally. So here's what I want us to do. Rather than trying to just feign excitement and do a whole bunch of stuff where I can, you know, you guys know I can get y'all riled. But instead of doing that, I just thought it is the first Friday of 2018. It is Collegian Vision Night. And my heart is that you would walk into not what could be, but should be. But if we're going to do that, we have to be honest about what isn't. And so I'm going to invite you right now. We're going to do something a little bit unconventional, okay? We're going to spend some time before the band comes up. We're going to do something called prayer journal. Now, some of you are super spiritual and you already have a journal and a pen. You can use that. Others of us, you're like me. You have a phone. And you can open up to any app that lets you write. Although I don't recommend Facebook, unless you want to post it right after. I mean, that's fine. If you want to do a full-on confession, we'll take that too. No. If you can open up an app, and here's what I'll do. We're going to go through 3 different slides, and I'm going to give you some time on each slide. And this exists to pause the sermon, to pause the sermon, and that you actually interact with God. So that it's not a monologue. It's not just me telling you, but it's that you can respond to God. You guys ready to go for it? Oh, and by the way, you know why I'm having you write? Because honestly, if I said pray, we all lie. When I pray, I lie until I start writing stuff down. I'm like, ooh, that was ugly. But that's the truth. Okay. So here's the first question, and I'm going to leave it on for like 2-3 minutes. I know some of us, we are short with words. My goodness, and that's okay. All right? So here's question 1. Question 1 is, this is you praying to God. I know my purpose should be you. But my biggest competing purpose is, and this is your confession to Jesus. And please feel free to be as detailed as possible. You can say why. You can tell him why you think that's your biggest competing purpose. You can ask him for strength. But go for it. It's your prayer. Next one is it's a proclamation. And the proclamation is to write out the gospel in your own words. The gospel is meaning the saving message of Jesus. That Jesus came to the earth and he died on the cross for your sins and my sins. And he rose again. And I want you to ask him to make it real and powerful for you as a disciple. Where we're following him. It's not, oh, okay. But instead it's, I can't believe you gave your life for me. I can't believe you traded your son to have me as your child. Make that real for me, God. Make that real for me. So go for it. Please keep writing. But for those of you who are done, I'll post up the final topic of prayer. One is you asking God to take you on a journey of discipleship this year unlike any other year. And that's not it's not like just a fancy prayer topic or just something that we're trying to do in the heat of the moment. But say, God, I surrender. Like you take me on a journey of discipleship where I see you more clearly, where I love you more, I love your people more, where I participate in all that you're doing in the world. And you know, I dare some of you to ask boldly, courageously, and you will be very, very surprised how he answers. So I'll give you a few more minutes. Okay, go for it. For those of you who are writing, please write. But as I launch us into this song, which can be our prayer, I'll finally share a story. So my son is 5 and he is not an athlete, so very much in the image of his parents. But he is a builder. If you put a age 14 Lego, he will build that sucker up. But we have these other toys where it's like ridiculous wood blocks. I can't believe someone bought those. And you can actually build. One day he was building, and he kept expressing frustration. Right? Like, oh. And he said, Daddy, this top, it won't hold. And what I told him was, yeah, it's because you have no support on the bottom. I said, you can't build on the top where there is no bottom. You can live the most successful life that you think you can live. But if at the bottom of your life, if it is not discipleship, if it is not Jesus, that is not a life well lived. The amazing thing is that God invites you to life, that which is truly life, in relationship to Him, to His people, and to His purposes all over the world. So I want to invite you to sing the song as a prayer. May His love, may that be what we build our lives on. He is our foundation. May Him, love for Him, His purposes for us, may that be what we pursue. Amen? So let's sing this in prayer. We are not our own. We belong to you. So help us. Prevent us from building a life this year. And as a human being, for our lives. From building a life where we get to put in our own purpose, our own meaning, devoid of you, only to see that crumble down the road. Instead, help us to see the pure invitation that when you call us to come and follow you, oh, it is not easy, but it is life that is truly life. It is life with meaning, life with you, life with your people, life where we get to see your work breaking into all sorts of spheres of our world today. And so God, thank you for speaking into our hearts and for creating and forming a different vision in every single one of our hearts. And help us by your grace to see that into fruition in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. You may be seated. Hey, should we do a clap offering? Should we do it? Yeah, let's do it. Well, I'm going to set you guys free for cell groups or small groups, but let me quickly give some announcements and then free you guys. And these announcements are going to be pathway announcements. And here's what I mean by that. Vision, the best of intentions, without a path, is meaningless. It's just good intention. But a vision, a desire, with a pathway, that vision could become a reality. That what could be, what should be, will be. And so here's kind of what I want to paint for all of us. If this is discipleship, this is what it means to live the life of purpose and all that God intends. I do want to create some pathways for us and some ideas. For loving God with everything, there are certain things individually that I can't be there for. I can't walk with you every day and say, hey, devotional time. I can't do that. But as a church, there is something that we are doing, and it's taking place next week, and that's our winter retreat next week. Okay? Now, before you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's using this as a plug for the retreat. Now, hang on. The theme of this retreat is seek. It's seeking the King, but we just condensed it to seek. I don't know about you, but I think our church and our ministry, we are so good at doing a lot of spiritual things, but sometimes we neglect to do the one thing of gazing upon the beauty of our Jesus. And so this retreat is almost a call to a come back and let's focus on Jesus and see him all over. I had lunch with Pastor Ray Cosby, our guest speaker, and man, we're blessed. It's going to be a great time. It's not too late to sign up. There is a registration booth, I think, right outside, okay? And rumor has it that, I don't know who started this rumor, but if we get like 9 more attendees, I'm apparently going to shave my head at the retreat. I don't know who made that up, but it's totally true. The other thing that's coming up is this thing called Grow 201.